Hey everybody, Happy New Year! It's
Hello.
first B2tv of 2019, which is a lot of syllables and apparently beyond my level of pronunciation today. Hi everybody, it's Carrie and Brooke. Happy New Year. We are back and just as interesting as ever.
Yeah, we were actually before on the countdown. We were talking about how we both have our hair down today, which is like we should basically go play the lottery tonight because the odds of that happening are slim to none.
The odds of me having my hair down is like, I don't know, one in a cajillion. Probably it's probably easier to win the lottery than to catch me with my hair not in a messy bun. So
Yeah, same.
banner day for 2019 already.
We are starting off the new year right.
It's another fashion and beauty podcast for me.
Who knew we were a fashion brand?
Who knew? I'm sure Luke is loving the hair talk right now.
Hi, Luke.
But we are here to talk about other things besides our hair and messy buns. I know that's not quite believable. But I want to know if you know what, well, you as in the rest of the world outside the two of us, because I know Brooke knows. But do you every year start a word of the year? This year, my word personally, unrelated, not sanctioned by work, but it is 2019. That is my word of the year. And according to Forbes, the word for women, so all of women, your word for 2019 is defiance, which I think is rather badass, and I'm excited about that. Not necessarily a good brand word for B
A
squared.
little negative on the sentiment side, I would say.
A little bit. So
Yeah.
I will let Brooke tell you what our word is for B squared.
Well, our word is really boring. Absolutely wonderful, amazing words, and your fun word. Our word is not so exciting, but I really think it's important, right?
But it's so good.
This is year 7 for B squared, lucky number 7, and our word for the year is efficient or efficiency, which is so boring, but also so needed. I really think it's needed, and
it covers a lot.
It does. It does. And we've actually started kind of working on this word last year. We hired an operations manager. We're just tightening up all of our processes, getting a lot of templated work done. So I think we kind of knew going into 2019 that this would be our word, but I'm excited. Even though it's boring, I'm excited about our word.
And I'm going to jump ahead a little because I think we know I get a little obsessed with things, just a skosh. And along that line, I binge watched the Marie Kondo series on Netflix. And yeah, sparking joy. I've made a lot of sparking joy jokes lately, but it is about making your life the most efficient and joyous. So like Brooke, you can say efficiency is a boring word, but it helps you spark joy. So I think it's an awesome thing to have and be a part of. And we obviously, they're not a sponsor, they're not a client, but you should, if you haven't watched that series, you should go watch it right now. As soon as this is over, turn on Netflix.
Yeah, not now, but as soon as
because we have a surprise at the end for those who stay for the whole episode.
Oh yeah, we do. We have a gift, a giveaway at the end. Well, I kind of want to back into why I chose efficiency. I think it's important to everyone, but I think it's especially important to me as the girl boss because I was doing some research for a talk that I gave last year a couple of times at a few different marketing conferences on social media processes. And one of the things that I found in my research was that the number one activity that wastes time during the workday is inefficient processes. 44% of people say that they don't have a process or a workflow in place to help them be efficient. And for me, when I was doing the research for this talk, that was mind-boggling. That's almost half of people saying that they go into work every day and they sit down and they don't have any sort of process for getting through the day. So I think that's one of the things that we've always been pretty good at B squared because we've always kind of had these processes. But I think also what people forget about good processes is that, yes, they have to be right? They have to be repeatable. I have to be able to write this process down and give it to someone, and they have to be able to repeat it. So it has to be simple enough, right? Someone else can come in and repeat it. But the process, a good process also has to be looked at constantly, right? Because if I would take our processes that we put together 7 years ago when we first started, would those processes still work today? Carrie, I'll let you answer that as somebody who does these processes every day.
I'm going to say probably not.
Probably not, right. So I think what a lot of people forget when it comes to being efficient is you may think, well, I've already got all my processes. I have all these workflows and checklists and whatever laid out. But like, unless you're looking at those processes constantly, identifying gaps in places where they need changes, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice on being efficient, right?
Yeah. Evolution is another good E-word to go along with efficiency.
Yes.
Play the Bert and Ernie Germs game. E-words. Efficiency. Evolution.
Playhouse. Like do the word. And more research that I found too, which was scary as a business owner, was that entrepreneurs said that companies lose up to 20 to 30% of their revenue every year due to inefficiencies. I don't know about you, but I can't afford to give 20 to 30% of my revenue away just because people are inefficient, which is why our processes are so important. And Carrie can speak to a little bit more about how our processes work. But essentially, when she came on day one, it wasn't like, okay, good luck to you. We kind of have these templates, workflows, processes, whatever you want to call them. What do you guys call them? Like, what's your word for those templates that we have in Basecamp?
Just templates, nothing. I've got to think of an E-word for it now, apparently.
You can call it whatever you want, checklist, process, template. But when Carrie came on board, essentially she had all of these processes that she could go through and work through with all of her clients. So she wasn't in the dark. Even without training, she knew kind of how we worked, right?
And at the same time, you listened and took my suggestions about changes and things that I thought could be done differently or improved or tweaked in just a little way. And you did, you listened, you put it into play, and now it's evolved even since I've been here.
Right.
You see it really the example. You were practicing what you preach, Brooke.
Thank you. Yeah, no. So I just think, a lot of people always talk about like, what's your differentiation strategy? What do you do that no one else does? And, there are plenty of other people who go through and do what we do. They do done for you marketing. They do done for you social media. They do done for you advertising. I really, truly believe that our differentiator and what I hear constantly, not only from our clients, but our team members, is that we're highly organized, and people love that we're organized, because what happens when we're organized is that we turn things around very quickly, because we're not kind of like scrambling to figure out what to do. We know what the steps are for launching a campaign. We know what the steps are for launching an advertising plan. All of those things are kind of laid out, and we can just like get right down to work.
And that's huge for people like me who are not inherently organized as a human. I'm one of those people that I will look for the keys. I'm like, I lost my car keys. Oh, but I'm driving. They're in the ignition. Having that process down helps rein me in. I figure the more flighty and disorganized a person is in their brain, the more organized they have to be, and in work, and that makes things easier on everyone. Agreed. Just and forcing yourself into it.
I know, Carrie, that you, leading up to this video today, talked to some of our team members on their top tips for communication. So why don't you share some of those with our audience?
Well, and I will be, I'll actually be sharing these out as a series on like Instagram and on our socials too. But we did get a lot of great tips, and I noticed there's a theme. The theme to these is organization and communication. So organization and communication will help to make everything more efficient, because you're not scrambling, you're not looking around for something, and also whatever the word for this is. For this, I need a word for this. Just having a tunnel focus when you work with multiple accounts. You have your blinders on to anything outside of that. Like I am working on this client's project 1, project 2, project 3, and then I'll switch over to this client and do project 1, project 2, project.
Time blocking. A lot of people talk about time blocking or like having specific times where they check emails. I check email in the morning and the afternoon, and I don't do that. I know I need to. It's been on my to-do list for like, I don't know, 7 years. But yeah, I think that's like time blocking. So you're saying when you go in, you're not just like working on like 10 clients at once. You're like, okay, right now it's client A, and then at 12 it's client B, and at 1 it's client C kind of thing.
Yeah, it just, that way you're not in the middle of a project, then you go, oh wait, I have to be over here. It's no, my brain is yours right now. It will be yours later. That's what I try, and I don't time block per se with my emails, but when I go into my email, I will only check one client at a time. So that way I have the whole conversation in my head in relation to what I'm working on. And that's how I block stuff out, is just, I'm only thinking about this client right now. And then in another half hour, I'll think about this other client. And one thing I do, I do at work through Harvest, and I know you're going to talk about that, but in my outside of work life, I'm a big fan of timers. I was talking actually with Leah that I set a timer every morning, and I do like 30 minutes of like cleaning up after whatever the dog ate last night. We're watching.
Yes, which if you watch Gary's Instagram story, pretty much every day the dog is something.
The dog does not spark a lot of joy. But it helps.
He's a puppy.
Yeah, he's just a little baby. He's just a big baby. But it helps to have that, okay, I know this time window is focused solely on this project. Hi, Deborah. And that it's online and offline work and personal. That helps me to be more efficient because I know I dedicate my all to whatever is in front of me at this time, and then I'll go work on the next thing.
Smart. And what are some of the tips that the other ladies behind the scenes on the B² team gave to you? Because I saw some good ones in there, but I don't want to steal your thunder.
Let's see. These are mostly the ad-related tips, but sharing notes and best practices, having specific places where you put specific things. Like when you're looking for information on this, you put it here. When I take all my notes in just a Word doc, just one continuous Word doc, and then I break them out into our Basecamp folder. That way I have all my notes on everything in one continuous doc. That way, for me, that's how my organization works best, but I also have it in where everyone in the company knows how to find something.
Yeah, I think that's smart. So I think a lot of what we do is it's not strategy heavy. Yes, it involves strategy, but I feel like a lot of what we do is more like tactical and practical type stuff, which kind of plays into the organization and the processes. So what's interesting is that social media marketing world, which I'm going in March. If anybody's going, let me know. I'd love to meet up for coffee or lunch or something like that. But they put out a study for 2018, and tactics was the top area that marketers wanted to master, according to this report. They said 90% of the marketers they surveyed wanted to know which tactics are most effective. So obviously that depends on what you're looking for, but some of the thoughts that I put behind this is everybody's been talking about influencers, right? We've talked about influencer marketing so many times on these videos. But instead of saying, I want to start an influencer campaign for 2019, set a specific goal. Focus on the tactic, focus on the outcome, not the thing, right? So the outcome would be, I want to reach 5 social media influencers in 2019 and try to form some sort of relationship or campaign. So instead of saying, I want to do an influencer campaign in 2019, what's the outcome? I want 5 relationships formed with influencers by the end of 2019. Instead of saying, I want to increase my Facebook fans, I want to, how many times do we hear this? I want 1 million Facebook fans. Like that. Say something like, I want to gain 100,000 followers a month, which good luck to you.
That's a really good budget for that one.
Yeah. instead of saying you want to increase your followers, say you want to gain 20 new followers a week or 20 new followers a month, whatever is a feasible, attainable goal. Set that instead. Look at the outcome. And then also, I think with that one, if we're looking at outcomes, what do you get out of those 20 new Facebook fans a week? If you just want the eyeballs, I would say it's not a good goal. If you're looking to bring 20 new people on and start conversations, then just ignore the increasing the fans and focus on having those important conversations around your brand. What's another one that I can say? Oh, we want to make sure that we reply to all mentions, which shouldn't be a goal. That should just be a given, right? But if it is a goal for you, then change that from checking all mentions and replying to all mentions to replying to all mentions within 1 hour, right? Which is the standard consumer expectation for brands, is that you're going to respond to that mention within 1 hour. So it's not just, we used to have goals and stretch goals back when I was a nonprofit. So it's not just your stretch goal, but it's focusing on the outcome and not just like the thing, right? So I think those are some ideas that I have around like creating better processes or being more efficient in the new year.
It's knowing what you need to do to get to your goal. So you have your goal. Now let's make it bite-sized. And
yes.
Want to get X, I have to do this, this, and this to get there. And knowing what that is and turning it into bite-sized pieces, it's going to help you get there easier, and it'll hurt less if you work on it all the way and like my goal is to do this by the end of the day. So that's what I'm going to work for.
Right. Manageable chunks. And then you can measure those manageable chunks that lead to a bigger measurement or an overall measurement for the year. Like, did I reach out to 5 influencers? No. But I formed relationships with 4. Okay. So I didn't meet my 5 for the year, but I got these 4 and, I've gained this out of those 4.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. I'm suffering from a little bit of a crud, as we call it down south. So forgive me if I sound a little.
But you're getting it out. You'll be fine by the end of, once this is over, as you're sick for the year, you're good.
Yeah. I'm being efficient, and then once this is over, I'm done for the year. No more sickness. So what are some other tips that the ladies shared with you?
Let me go into my other doc because I only had the admins in here, which is not efficient.
I can read some. I saw like batching tasks. We kind of talked about batching our time. What did I just call it? Time blocking.
Time blocking.
Batching, no.
See, Deborah, you'll be feeling better too. See, once you get your cold out, end of the year, this is it.
Deb's sick too. Sorry, Deb.
Cross it off.
That time of year. We got on a plane, and I swear, it's like every time we get on a plane these days, something is. Yeah. Anyway. Well, do we want to talk about tools then really quickly?
I love a tool.
All right. So let's talk about
so awkward.
that we use to help with efficiency. So one of the tools that we mentioned earlier was Basecamp. Basecamp is a project management tool. It's super user-friendly. It's really cheap. I think it's like $50 a month if you just, have you and your team, unlimited team members, unlimited projects. And then we pay, I think, like $70 a month. And ours includes adding unlimited team members, unlimited projects, and we can also invite the clients in on a project. So for an example, Carrie works with a financial client of ours. They do both paid media and organic media. Carrie works on their organic, Jenny works on their paid, and then the client also has access to, and we can decide what they have access to inside of the Basecamp. They have access to like certain to-dos, documents, and you guys kind of share information back and forth. We also have a luxury appliance brand who is very big on using Basecamp to discuss things with you. So just why don't you kind of touch on like how awesome that is and how it's great for collaboration?
Well, it also goes back to keeping everything about one client and brand in one place, so you know where to look for it, which is huge. But my favorite features are the tagging and the pings. Mm-hmm. You can keep a conversation back and forth in a Basecamp IM versus, okay, I'm going to send this email asking this 2-line question and wait for the client to check their email and get back to me, and eventually they'll answer my question, which in a normal, in a in-person office, you could just walk over and be like, hey, tap, 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 can you help me with this for a second?
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that here. So for the client side and the B2 side, it gives you, it kind of creates that tap, 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 I need help with this right away feature, which is huge. I like to, when we share documents back and forth, you can tag an individual person. So then they get a special notification. Like on my phone, if someone mentions me on Basecamp, I get a pop-up notification. Otherwise, I just have to go and look to see if I have any notifications if my little red thing is on. But if you tag somebody, it's just like an ad on like Facebook or Twitter. You get that extra notification. That's that extra level of, hey, this is kind of urgent. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And it's just so much nicer than email in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it really cuts down the whole back and forth with emailing. Which reminds me of another tool that we didn't talk about today. I use Calendly for my scheduling because that's another thing I found. I do all of the sales for B2, and I would constantly find myself spending a lot of time on the whole like, hey, can you have a consultation tomorrow at 12? No, I can't do 12, but I can do 12:30. Oh, I can't do 12:30, but I can do 1. Oh, I can't do 1, but I can do 3. And like back and forth a bajillion times, like literally hours wasted on this whole back and forth. So I finally signed up for Calendly, and now people have direct access to my free consultation calendar. They can book whatever they want. They have literally access to my full calendar. When a meeting gets booked, obviously that time goes away, but they can see what times I have open, and you can set it open to so Fridays is my get out from behind the desk day. So I don't have any sort of meetings or sales meetings on Fridays. So nobody can book a Friday, but any other time, as long as I don't have an event scheduled, is open so that people can book at their leisure when they want to have the sales call. That is super efficient. It saves a ton of time. And literally I can just send a link to my page and be like, here you go.
Yeah. Deborah's asking if Calendly is better than Schedule Once.
I don't know about Schedule Once. I'm assuming it's probably a similar thing. Calendly just updated theirs so that now I can actually create like an ad hoc meeting. So like if a client or a potential client comes through and says like, hey, sorry, I'm getting a tickle.
And we can drop the link to Calendly in the comments, bless you, after this. And Brooke, maybe yours. Or are you going to play? Okay.
I'm like having a...
Yeah, we'll get you that link, Deborah, for sure. This recording. Oh, no.
This is one of those things about having a cold where everything just starts like flaring up when they know you're on video.
Welcome to winter, everyone.
Winter is here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the ad hoc meeting, if they say they wanted to meet on a Tuesday, I could go through and just pick available times and then copy and paste those times right into an email so that they could see the actual times in a schedule layout and book. Sorry.
Oh, dear. So since Brooke is now not going to make it, I think we should maybe wrap up. Just one more tip I'd like to give is, because I'm a big Google Chrome user, because I don't know why that's not the one that's automatically installed. That's the one that has the most additional bells and whistles, but I guess at me if that's an issue. I do love that you can set up individual browsers for everyone. Each of my clients has its own browser. That way, not only are you focused in your brain, you're focused on your screen. So you're just working in that client stuff. All your tabs are that client. Everything you need is right there and accessible. And you also don't have the, oops, I replied from the wrong brand too, which is nice to not have to worry about.
Seen that happen a few times. With some big brands too. So yeah.
So it's just a nice little feature. What's that?
Sorry, we set up that security layer too.
Yeah, it makes them a little more secure. That way, if there's employee changes, you don't have to go back to your client and say, okay, we need to have you change all your passwords for all your social stuff because of an employment change on our side. All we have to do is change that password in the browser. and it automatically everything stays the same, and it helps keep that access one more layer of safety.
I think that's hugely important too for cybercrime and what's happening and coming in 2019 and beyond. I think cybercrime is only going to grow. And
I think next week, or is the end of this week, is National Home Office Safety and Security Week.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, it's a great, efficient way to think about how to help prevent cybercrime. And also be more efficient. Like, we don't have to change the password a million times. We have to change this one password here. But also thinking about other ways, being efficient can help you. Because being efficient, honestly, kind of puts its little hands into everything you do, which is one of the reasons I think efficiency is a sexy word and not a boring word. But
thank you. Go back and reverse this live and erase what Brooke said and just replace it with sexy. No longer is efficiency boring.
The last tool we'll mention is Harvest, which this was something that Carrie had us change. We were using a different tool at the time to kind of track all of our projects. And Carrie mentioned that she loved Harvest, and we looked into Harvest, and it was very similar to the other tool, but actually way more user-friendly. So we switched over, and everyone really loves it. I have not heard one complaint about Harvest.
Yeah, it's so nice and easy to use. It works with Basecamp, so you just go in, you click a button to track your timer, you make sure that it's selected the right client and right project, you add your notes, like what you're doing, and you move along. And it's all your timing. And that way you can watch, like, oh, hey, why is Carrie spending so much time on this project? Let's see what's going on. Like, maybe we need to get her help, or we need to give her more hours to work on this, or we need to give her a lesson in a tool. You know, you can dig in and see, oh, maybe it's a scope group situation. Like, why is this taking longer than everybody training guy said scope group? It really helps to kind of analyze what people are doing. And not in a gotcha kind of way, but like, oh, hey, you know, we're doing a lot of XYZ. Why don't we consider making it a service? We're doing it anyway, but it's not officially a service. Why don't we make that?
Yes. As a business owner, again, I have to say, like Carrie said, it's never a gotcha thing. It's more of a, when I belong to a lot of business owner groups and things like that, a ton of questions come across about pricing. Like, how do I know what to charge? Using a tool like Harvest helps you, because you can actually see by client and then by task under client what takes what kind of time. And then you can start to figure out averages, or if there's not an average, maybe it shouldn't be a flat fee based on an average. Maybe it should be an hourly rate because it's all over the place every week. It's a wonderful tool to help you figure out pricing, to help you figure out exactly like Carrie said, new service areas, or even services where maybe you're not collecting the margin that you need and you should think about losing. So Harvest is a great tool, not only for our remote team, but also as a business owner. It's great for us to see, you know, what kind of clients we should pursue too. If there's certain industries that are better clients for us, and we found that out through Harvest.
And it's a way to bring in another E word. You can reverse engineer, focusing on what Harvest teaches you. There we go. That's our third
reverse engineer. I love it. Well, before I choke to death again.
Yeah, we should
wrap it up.
Hotter tea.
Yeah, I pretty much have had all the teas, so I'm out of options here. And I apologize, but I couldn't leave you guys. I couldn't not do the video because it's important to me to be here and to share our ideas and tips with you. And now, if you made it to the end, I want to share with you our very own swipe file. You may ask, what is a swipe file? We have an entire swipe file of all of our major social media processes, which means literally I give you the step-by-step checklist for our 5 biggest social media processes. So if you want that, and you can use it as an old school checklist, you can use it as, you can pop it into Basecamp, into templates like we have it. You can use it however you want. You can just pull the curtain back and see how we do things. Totally open to that. So go to b2tv.media Swipe File, SWIPEFILE, and enter your information, and you will get, again, our actual processes for our 5 top social media management actions. So you'll get the top line is the strategy, and then you'll get like literally every single tactic we have. And you can download that, steal it, use it, borrow it. That's it.
And I flapped it up on the screen. Write that down. But everybody, thanks for coming out. Deborah, we will get you that link, and everybody have a great day and Happy New Year. We will see you next week via recorded video, but we will see you back live on the first Tuesday in February.
Bye, guys. Thanks for my cold.
Feel better, Brooke. Bye.